Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the fight of our lifetime. We are in a political fight that will set the trajectory of this country for the next century at least. We fought through 2020. We fought for a Donald Trump victory in 2024. And if you've been with me for a while, I always said that winning the presidential election is going to be just the beginning of the battle. Once Trump gets inaugurated, that's when the real war against the deep state, against the globalists, against the Satan-worshiping global cabal is only beginning. And right now, on all fronts, there is a war to make sure that no American election is ever stolen before. We have Trump's FBI and Trump's administration working side by side with the House Oversight Committee, investigating elections, how China and other countries might be involved. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, the deep state is not going down without a fight. The deep state is kicking. The deep state is punching. The deep state is screaming, and the deep state is deleting actively. As you are watching me right now, they are deleting evidence. And this is coming from several sources. Do me a huge favor. Smash that thumbs up. Subscribe. Leave me a comment. Where are you tuning in from today? And before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, today's sponsor is VERITY Metals. The deep state is not going to go down without a fight. They control the money. They control the banks. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let them control your money. Protect it through physical, constitutional gold and silver. VERITY Metals are patriots, people of faith, and huge Trump supporters located out of Glendale, Arizona. Just a few miles from my house. You can go in, meet the staff, meet the owner, see what you are actually buying. Also, when you tell them that Vlad sent you, they'll give you free silver on your next order. So call 888-328-6105. Links are down below in the description. Let's get right into it. We are jumping from here onto my Twitter page. We're going to cover, no, first I'm going to show you this. This is the front that we are on, right? Really quickly. Representative Abe Hamadeh fires off letter to the Department of Justice requesting an investigation into Runbeck Election Services breach of protocols in 2024 election in several states. Blank ballots mixed with voted ballots in Runbeck warehouse. Representative Abe Hamadeh, Republican from Arizona, sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi on Tuesday asking the Department of Justice to investigate, quote, credible claims of election security violations involving the Arizona-based ballot printing firm Runbeck Election Services. Runbeck provides ballot printing and mail-in ballot services in 31 states and 54% of the nation's voters, according to its website. The Gateway Pundit has reported extensively on this shady private entity, which was founded by leftists and transports and scans Maricopa County mail-in ballots with no oversight or chain of custody before they are even processed and counted by the county. As revealed in Trump-endorsed former gubernatorial and Senate candidate Kari Lake's 22 election lawsuit, roughly 81% of the 1,311,734 Maricopa County 2022 election voters voted by mail and had their ballot sent to Runbeck for signature verification. Investigators then found massive discrepancies in ballot chain of custody documentation and tens of thousands of ballots that seemingly came out of nowhere. Poof, fugazi, they weren't real. So this is our Republicans. This is our conservative fighters on the front line fighting for election integrity, right? Congressmen and women, with senators going to the DOJ, the FBI. Kash Patel is doing amazing work exposing China and their hand in our election systems. But the other side, ladies and gentlemen, they are not going down without a fight. We're going to watch several videos and we're going to break them down.
So I guess that leads to the question, President Trump making a ton of news this morning saying there's got to be a special prosecutor to look into this. You've obviously looked into it.
So this morning, Donald Trump called on Pam Bondi to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate the 2020 election.
You've been one of the bravest single voices in the Senate, perhaps sometimes the only voice, Senator, that would talk about this, the stolen election in 2020. Do you support a special prosecutor for this?
Yeah. We need people with power and the resources, the manpower to go and investigate this. We also need whistleblowers, people with integrity that don't like the fact that probably crimes are committed, that would come forward because they have firsthand knowledge. They save documents on their iPhone or on their computers, and then bring that forward, because if somebody else has destroyed it, it's by the way, it's hard to destroy evidence now today with the internet. For example, Dr. David Morans, this is the guy who wrote about how he had somebody inside the FOIA office that pretty well helped him avoid maintaining records that could be FOIA. So that's why he was sending everybody out to contact me by email, by Gmail. We didn't get that from HHS. We got that from a university who's on the email chain. And then my staff literally pulled that email out of a production of about 115,000 pages, pulled that needle out of that haystack. That's what we're talking about here. Now, to me, that was a bombshell revelation that somebody pretty high up in HHS was literally doing everything they could to avoid storing what should be federal records and keep them available and make them available to the public under FOIA. They were obviously purposely evading that process. But that was one piece of evidence, one email that we got from a university, not from the federal agency itself. So you have to stitch all these things together. You got to find those needles in the haystack and then pull that thread and see if there's other documentation. But again, this is what whistleblowers are crucial. Remember whistleblowers during Watergate. Wouldn't have gotten anywhere without people coming forward and spilling their guts. We need people coming forward and spilling.
So there we have that, ladies and gentlemen, right? He's asking for whistleblowers to come forward. We're going to go back on the screen here just a minute. Why are whistleblowers important? If by God's grace, you hate Trump and you run across this video and you watch it. Maybe you're laughing at this, but maybe you know something. Maybe you work for Runbeck, or you worked for a Democrat machine that, fiddles and plays with elections. Why? Let me make the case to you why it's so important for you to be a whistleblower. Listen, because if they did it to Trump, they can do it to your candidate. In 2015, if you're a liberal, in 2015, you probably wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders had the Democratic nomination in the bag. That's it. He was guaranteed to win. He had huge crowds. It was supposed to be him versus Trump. But the Democrat Party stole the primary election from Bernie Sanders. See, the Democrat Party hates you Democrat voters so much that first they stole it from Bernie Sanders against your will and gave it to Hillary Clinton, who you guys did not even like. Then in 2024, Joe Biden runs a primary, wins. 14 million of you voted for him in the primary. They kicked Kennedy off he was a Democrat. He wanted to run in the primary against Joe Biden. They kicked him out illegally. And then they tossed Joe Biden out and they installed Kamala Harris. So if they could do it, they've done it to you several times. They've done it to us. Election safety and security should not be a left or right thing. It is an American thing. I don't mind losing elections if I lose them fair and square. Really quickly, Donald Trump had this to say about his and America's safety.
That Iran or its proxies would wage terror attacks against American targets abroad if you order military action.
We're always concerned about that, and we have to take them out and be very strong. You're even in danger talking to me right now. Do you know that? You are in danger talking to me right now. So I should probably get out of here, but you guys are actually in danger. Can you believe it?
One more. Can Can you believe the President of the United States is saying that reporters around him are in danger? So I guess the threat is real. Now, I want us to watch also this clip of General Flynn talking about the Tulsi Gabbard situation. General Flynn says intel agencies are feeding Tulsi Gabbard and other Trump cabinet members false information to sow division.
Pete Hegseth is overwhelmed. I'm fans of all these guys, and I'm trying to do my part to help them. Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, all this noise about Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is effective. Is she got all the requisite skills and backgrounds? No, but she is somebody who has the ear of the president and has, I still believe, the trust and confidence. I hope that she does, because we cannot give up. Don't listen to the noise. But I have a lot of time for these people because they listen. They listen. And I believe that particular testimony where she talked about Iran not having nuclear weapons, to me, I believe this, and I'll say it here, I believe that was a setup, because she's only a couple of weeks into the job. So she's taken what the smartest people in our community, in intelligence community, say about something, and she presents it, right, until she can get in and figure out what's going on and actually build a team around her that she can trust. Below the level of people at the top, so the cabinet officials, a couple of others who have been put into jobs below that level, most of those people were put in by Obama, and then they were strengthened during the Biden administration, meaning they added more people around them, right, in what's called senior special government employees or highly qualified experts, different types of government employees that are not just GS, government servants, right, or senior executive servants or senior intelligence service, right? These are different components of the government that not a lot of people understand. I do. And so who is executing those executive orders on a daily basis? Who's going out and checking randomly, showing up to Benny Johnson's studio and going, okay, Benny, are you using this particular thing with the FCC? Who knows?
It's wild that you're saying that Tulsi Gabbard may have been given incorrect information in order to create some sort of frictions there. We've obviously seen this with Signalgate, where there's still no proper explanation as to why one of the most anti-Trump visceral reporters was added to a classified chain.
I'm sorry, Benny. It happened to me. It happened to me when I was the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. My testimony, okay, this happened to me, but I had 5 years of combat experience, right? I'd been fighting these bastards for a long time, and I had been studying them like I've been studying the Chinese for 40 years. My testimony, my written testimony came back, and the White House had changed it. They wanted me to say a certain narrative that Obama was talking about at that time. And that was the reason why under the Obama regime, I'll call it a regime, under the Obama regime, I was let go because I was not going to follow the narrative. And I didn't, in very public testimony, where all the others, a very famous picture of Clapper, Comey, Brennan, right, myself, and we were asked the question about Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and because remember, Obama said Al-Qaeda's on the run, bin Laden's dead, right? So that was the narrative that they wanted. I didn't follow that narrative because it wasn't the truth. It wasn't the truth.
So for my closing arguments and closing statements, ladies and gentlemen, the deep state is fighting. The deep state, especially when it comes to the elections, they will do everything they can to sow division, to feed false information to Trump's administration. They will do everything they can to lie to you. Maybe even another, I don't know, another COVID scamdemic. Because just imagine what will happen if, and I will say this with faith, and when everything about 2020 is exposed, how our government colluded with Europe, with Canada, with China, because from what we know, the fake Chinese ballots that were, flown in They came in through Canada. That explains to me why Trump doesn't like Canada, why he doesn't like Governor Trudeau, because Trudeau was the prime minister of Canada. So obviously he knew that there are Chinese planes coming in with fake ballots. They are going to go through his country into the United States and go to swing states, and they are all to take out politically the president of the United States. And instead of calling Donald Trump and warning him and telling him he colluded with the Democrat Party, with the Europeans and the Chinese. Ladies and gentlemen, pray for truth to prevail. I am tired. I am done. And I will keep putting pressure on Donald Trump to do this. Pam Bondi, we got to call her out. Kash Patel, we got to call him out, because here we are. And I'm sorry, but Kash Patel, he breaks promises, and he can be broken. We see that with the Epstein files. Pam Bondi breaks promises, and she can be broken. We see that with the Epstein files. We need the truth. The most important thing in the last 100 years of our country is election gate. What the hell happened? People need to be held accountable. If this is not fixed, say goodbye to our country in 2028. If our election system is not fixed, right? When I look at going to 2026, I think we're going to lose the House. I think we're going to lose the House in 2026. It sucks to say it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to comment on a comment. Trust the plan. What plan? I keep hearing people who follow the QAnon. I'm sorry. I personally asked the General Flynn about Q. He told me it's LARP. It's a deep state. And if you ever look into how the Russian Empire fell, for 7 years, Roman Romanov, the last king of the Russian Empire, was already dead. But they still believed that the king is in hiding and the military is actually in charge. I'm a realist. I don't believe in faceless voices behind the scenes. And if I was going and doing the biggest military operation the world has ever seen, I would not use a Japanese porn/meme website to post drops. I would create my own little app or something. I wouldn't use a Japanese porn website. I'm sorry. And 99.9% of my predictions would come to pass, not actually the other way around. So I don't put my trust in man. I put my trust in God, especially no, see, people say Q's real. You're gonna all know soon. We were supposed to see Biden get arrested in 2020 and Trump be back. And yeah, please. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I don't believe anyone that posts on a porn website as a drop. And plus, what's the point of posting everything on a website because your enemies can read it? I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, no one's coming to save us. It is our job. The people that tell you to sit at home, grab your popcorn, and trust the plan are not your friends. They're your enemies. We need to be working. We need to be active. We need to get out, run for office, support candidates that can make a difference. Do not trust nothing. Get active. This is what my stance. Don't trust plan, and grab your popcorn, get active. If the plan is for you to get active, speak truth to power, run for a seat, support Christian America First candidates, get involved in that plan. My family's empire was taken by the same exact thing. Besides that, there is a Jewanon and a Blue Anon who also post on 4chan and 8con. I'm going to leave that there. And they actually predicted Trump is going to win 2024 and that in 2025, America and Israel are going to attack Iran. The Jewanon. It's called Jayanon. But so I've looked into all of this. That being said, God bless you. And just I followed QAnon for its first 4 years. And then they said Hillary Clinton's going to get arrested. Never did. Democrat Party's going to fail in 2018. They won the midterm. Trump was going to win 2020. But then after the election, they told us, well, Joe Biden's not a real president. I can't. Let's get active. Let's get active. The Bible in the Constitution tells us to get active, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. Stay tuned. I'm going to stay on top of this. I'm going to put pressure on their necks. And we got to get down to the truth. God bless you.